good old national news. I like nothing more than watching our beloved politicians yell over the top of each other to get a point across, or desperately yell for Mr. Speaker when their tantrum goes unnoticed.
Prime Minister would continue with the answer, please.
So, Mr. Speaker.
Spying, anti-terrorism, and phone leaking were the conversations in Parliament this week. The freedom of New Zealand journalists is being called into question after it was revealed that the phone records of a Fairfax reporter, Andrea Vance, were handed to a ministerial inquiry without her permission. This came a day after the Defence Force confirmed it had loomed up some investigative journalists in the same category as terrorists. Now, fast forward a couple of days, the head of Parliamentary Services, Jeff Thorne, resigns himself. More hype is created around the GCSB bill, and a small little detail is released about how Vance's emails were also leaked. Don't you love the government? Democracy, more like hypocrisy. Now this spy versus spy situation has taken an ironic twist as the Defence Force is also facing allegations of spying on a journalist. It seems this week's revelations couldn't come at a worse time for the government when it was trying to pass a bill that critics say gives the country's spies even greater powers. Speaking of which, the GCSB bill is in its second reading, and so far John Key is not doing a great job of being a GC. His reasoning behind the requirements claims that there may be some terrorists living in our own backyard. I think the real terrorism in this country is our insane prices on milk and petrol. $2.20 a litre for each. I'm either missing out on cereal or driving to work. Sometimes both. In a statement on behalf of Parliamentary Services, Speaker Mr. Carter said that the handing over of the phone records was completely unacceptable, and he has apologised. Bless him. And Peter Dunn, you ask? Well, he resigned following its release after he refused to hand over emails to the report's author, David Henry. And the Greens? Well, they always have something to say.
I think it is another cynical use of privileged security information by the Prime Minister. And if he was genuine about protecting the security of New Zealand, he would do it in the national interest instead of his own sectarian political interest.
And what about our beloved Shearer?
He will not come clean, sir. He keeps on saying that he gives the answer, and then we find there's another answer behind that one, and there's something else and something else.
And what's Key's take on this?
The paper trail, well, actually, funny enough, bugger lugs, I'm not, but anyway.
And what about the head of Parliamentary Services, Jeff Thorne? Actually, sorry, we can't go to his response. He quit. It seems the latest bombshell about the phone records takes this issue to an entirely new level, and one that will be a real problem for the government, which has been in constant damage control as of late. This breach of trust over the phone records and what goes on between political journalists and politicians makes me just that much more paranoid when I accidentally ring those 0900 numbers.